We are currently living in a very weird world where movies like Land of Bad and Agalai get a theatrical release, and movies like this Roadhouse don't actually get a theatrical release. Because this, for me, is one. Okay, we are going to get a lot of action movies this year, but so far, if we are getting this quality of movies, then I think we are in for a very good ride. This is a fantastic film. You know, there are movies that you go into, especially today, and you think to yourself, it's going to be an action movie. So the first thing that comes into your mind is going to be shot like John Wick. It's going to be like any other B movie starring Scott Adkins, where you'll have this, stylistic kung fu moves, or it's going to be like choreographed by an Asian, so it's going to have that Asian touch. But Roadhouse, wow, they tried to make their own thing because it has its own language in terms of fights. There's a very interesting use of the camera. There are these close, I don't know how to, wide angle, but close to the camera, so you can actually feel each punch. You can see where the punch is coming from and where it goes. And they do a lot of those wide takes. Now, the editing too is very interesting because if you remember movies from the late 2000s, they used to have those quick edits thanks to the Bourne Identity franchise, whereby you would have these quick cuts. This one, they got that sweet spot between really long takes and really, really quick cuts. Plus that wide angle, you get a movie that has its own fight language. Let me just call it that way. It's brutal. It's bare knuckled. You feel every punch. The blood looks like blood. That those small things that I actually loved about this movie. If you look at the poster, you see Jake with just a little blood on his stomach. But during the end, there is a lot of blood. And you get those small things that I always complain about when it comes to action movies. You don't see injuries. You don't feel the injuries. But in this movie, they tried to show you the injuries. They tried to give you an idea of what could actually happen when something like that happens to you. There's a part during the third act where the main character has, is punched in the face for a couple of times, and so you can see one of the side of the eye actually beginning to swell up. It's all red. It's beginning to swell up. There's blood from the head. There's blood from the back of the head, because obviously the area that they were fighting, it's a pump. And so it's an absolute mess, and obviously in those kind of messes you get cut up by stuff, so you end up being actually bloody. So those are some of the details that I actually liked. I love the texture of the blood, because now the blood feels like real blood. It dries up, it comes out like normal blood, excited and stuff, and then with time you can actually see the blood slowly dry up. So those are some of the elements that I loved. I didn't understand this pub, man. I mean, it gets destroyed. People come and fight, and tomorrow you'll come and find everything has been rearranged. Everything looks fine. Then there's a fight, and then everything is restored. And then there's a fight, and then everything is restored. So that again, I was like, if I was running that particular pub, unless I'm making a shitload of money, no matter how passionate I am about the pub, there's no way I will be able to maintain something like that. It's such a violent place that they actually put a barrier between. They put a barrier between the musicians, and the people who came to drink, because they know, this is what they expect. And so, yeah, that was pretty interesting. The story is basic. There's this lady who owns a roadhouse. There's a developer who wants to build, something bigger over there, and so the developer now starts to intimidate them, send gangs to come and destroy their stuff so that they can be frustrated and leave. And so now Jake comes in. Now our main hero comes in with the bus. He meets the lady during a fight, and then he says, he's like, no, I can't do this. And then he's like, you need a new car. And so he finds himself, after doing something totally stupid in the beginning with a train. I was like, what the hell are you doing? Anyway, he realizes that, and then he does something different, and so he ends up in the roadhouse, and then he ends up within that particular town where people are so connected. It's like wow, this is more of a western. It has that feeling of a western, whereby you have this small town where everybody knows everyone. So if you're new and you did something, everyone knows your name. So like the opening incident, when he gets there, the next day everyone knows his name. and they know that he lives within the boat, and so he gets this good relationship with this particular town. And then there is another small girl and his dad. They have a bookshop, so they have their own issues, they have their own arc. We have now the main character who has his own arc. There's something that he's dealing with because he used to be a fighter, and so there's something that happened. I don't want to spoil it for people. There's something that happened that affects him. So even in his new job, whereby he's more of a bouncer, there are things that he cannot do. He doesn't want to get over. There's a particular limit that he gets to, that he doesn't want to push himself over, because he knows that he can go into a very dark place. And so, the first time when he comes in, he's successful. He actually, and this is the other thing that I really liked about this movie, because at one point, the main character is so likable. That's one thing they did. They made such a likable character, because he was not just a badass, a brutal badass like the first movie, whereby he's all macho and he's all serious and he's all like a loner who stands by his side and doesn't talk to anyone. He's all business, I'm going to come and kick your ass and, we are going to be done. No, there's a charm to him, there's a way that he behaves. It's like violence for him is like the last thing, and that is based on his arc. And then the other thing that he did that was pretty interesting, that he started to train one of the other persons, and then he got another person who was actually skilled to come and join that particular team. So in a way, it felt like he was preparing to leave, whereby he's like, I can't always be here, so I need, if you are experienced, I think you'll be fit to be here. And so it's like the movie, he starts to plan his exit during the beginning of the second act. That's how I felt, because it felt more like he felt like, I could do this, I could get myself involved in this, but if I got these guys, if I took this waiter and taught him one or two things, gave him one or two tips, they could actually sustain themselves. And so, as we go, I was like, yeah, by the end of the film, he's not going to be here. And so it just happened. I don't mean that he dies. Spoiler alert, no, he doesn't die or something. But yeah, that was pretty interesting. Now the villain, Conor McGregor. This is a B movie. This is a very, very high-end, very well-written script packaged in a B movie, in a B movie container, because you have the generic bad guys. The bad guys are generic. You have the main bad, the erratic, spoiled brat, and then you have now Conor McGregor, who is just Conor McGregor. He's your typical generic bad guy, muscles from the 80s. He's straight from the 80s, apart from the beards. He's just straight from the 80s bad guy who is, I'm bad because I'm bad. Am I looking for something? No, I just want to fight. I just want to cause trouble. And I'm a bully because I'm big and I have big muscles and I can fight. That is his arc. There's nothing else. And so, when it's presented, I don't expect people to expect a Thanos. He's not that deep. He's just a bad guy for the sake of being bad. And that is what makes him entertaining, because he fully embraces it. Knowing who Conor McGregor is, you'll have a great time. If you love the character outside the film, that's still him. He's playing himself in a way. He's playing an exaggerated version of himself. And that was pretty cool. The action set piece, they're actually good. As I said before, they're fantastic. Not good because they have that bare knuckle feel, where you can feel each punch. You can almost see the effect of, fight scenes don't feel realistic because they feel too, over the top. No one seems to get injured, and fights don't usually work that way. Fights are slow and sluggish. Like the opening scene with, I think that was Post Malone. I think it was Post Malone. And so there's that opening fight with him and this other fat person, and you can see their movement. Apart from the punches, their movement is slow. It's not framed like, over the top or, fabulous poses and stuff. No, it's framed normally, and their movement feel, they feel sluggish, they feel slow, but you feel them. You can actually hear the punches and stuff. So this was pretty great. If there's something I did not like, is Conor McGregor's character is taken out in such a scene. Yes, it's an epic third fight scene, but it felt shorter, it felt smaller, it felt more to the point. It felt, I expected a much longer, I expected a raid level. If you remember Raid, that last action set piece, I think it was Raid 2, that last action set piece, I expected something like that, but I got something much smaller, much tamer. It was brutal, but short. There's really nothing that I did not like about it. I was surprised that it was straight on streaming, because this is a cinematic level, experience, because of the way it's shot, actually, because they have that first person, they almost have that first person erratic move, that handheld quality about them, widescreen but handheld. So there's that erratic movement, but still very, very cinematic. I'm shocked that this was not on the big screens. But anyway, that's basically it. I would give this a 4 out of 5. I had a great time with this movie. It's fun, it's brutal, and there are very, very good scenes. And then the main character is a very likable character. The bad guy is a very over-the-top, exaggerated Conor McGregor. And so you have that conflict, and it's by the end you're like, okay, I had a good time with this. And there's actually an arc with different characters who have their own issues, and I was like, it's basically, you have a lot of good characters who you can actually root for, and I like that kind of a movie. So I'll give this a solid 4. I had a great time with this movie. So basically that's it. Remember to always watch what you enjoy and enjoy what you watch. Thanks for being here. As I've said in my recent videos, I'm on an arc myself. We are at currently 500 subscribers. I want to see where we are going to be at 100k subscribers. I mean, will I be the same person? Will you have evolved? Will you be looking at my videos and going like, damn, I miss the way he used to speak when he was, at 100, some few hundred subscribers. I was there from the word go. I remember how he used to be. He has changed. Or will you be like, dude, you need to evolve, Bana. You're doing the same thing the same way that you've been doing throughout these years. So I would invite you to come with me through this crazy arc. Hopefully you'll be there by the time I hit 100k, and hopefully I will not hear you say, damn, I miss the way you used to be when you were coming up. Anyway, basically that's it. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe, and I shall see you on the next one.